There is so much to this place, to this job of facilitating battering intervention. It's so much more than just having a curriculum and a group room. Hi everybody, it's Steve Halley here with the Family Peace Initiative, and welcome to the July edition of the Facilitators Tool Chest blog. This channel is really devoted to facilitators of domestic violence, battering intervention, abuse intervention, working, trying to support professionals who are working to intervene with cruelty in families, abuse, and violence. It turns out that this community is growing to not only include facilitators and professionals in the domestic violence arena, but people all over the helping field world, right, who are trying to just figure out how to be better helpers and how to make an impact with those who are struggling. And the internal focus dialogue and our river of cruelty approach is having a much broader impact than we ever imagined when we started putting this together. And so thank you for that. And, if you subscribe and like and share this and join our community, I think there's some just remarkable people involved in trying to pursue how to be better helpers. And so join us, and we'll try to put one of these out every month to see if we can't stimulate some thought and some ideas. Today, I want to talk about a subject that you might be surprised to know could be controversial. There's people in the domestic violence field that do not even think about the ideas of attachment styles and relationships. Although the research regarding attachment styles connected to domestic violence is pretty compelling. You might be surprised to know that when people have secure attachment styles, which means that they had kind of a secure base when they were very young in the first year or two of life, where if they if their body detected danger, they had somebody who would be there for them. If they had intense emotional responses, they had somebody who would be there for them and help soothe them. If they had needs that needed to be met, are they hungry or tired or sick, that they had people available to them to be emotionally present with that child. In the first year or two of life, many of our relationship attachment styles are well on their way to being established. So with that tidbit of information, when you think about secure attachment styles, people who have a sense of confidence about themselves are very emotionally expressive. They're able to recognize their own needs and have empathy and understanding about the needs of their partner. They're in a trusting relationship together. That secure attachment style is actually inversely correlated with domestic violence. So, it is way less likely for someone to be using domination and control tactics in relationships if they have secure attachment styles. Now, of course, the other end of that coin, the other side of the coin, is people who have all the wide range of insecure attachment styles. People that either didn't have their needs met, they didn't have caretakers who were emotionally present, they didn't have caretakers who could be that secure base for them, so they didn't get those early established qualities of developmental phase of developing trust and a knowledge that one's interest will be taken care of when we're very young. Then we get these insecure attachment styles that play out over the lifespan. And you might be surprised to know that while secure attachment is inversely related to domestic violence, it means very infrequently with someone with insecure. It's a great buffer to all the different challenges and emotional activations that happen in a lifetime. Whereas insecure attachments is not a great buffer. And it leads to all kinds of challenges in relationships, of inability to express emotions, inability to have trusting relationships, inability to really be connected and pursue a connected, vulnerable space in a relationship. There's a whole host, even the avoidance of relationships altogether. And people who have these insecure attachments, they are driven to use a host of behaviors, and among that host of behaviors can be domestic violence. Now, I'm not saying that insecure attachment causes domestic violence, right? I'm just saying that the people in your group rooms, the vast majority of them will be struggling with insecure attachment challenges in their relationships. Those are the people who are using power control, domination control, abusive, cruel behaviors in their relationships by and large. So what do, right? Your program should be designed to do a host of things in the intervention process, right? There has to be an accountability, right? There has to be a recognition of the violence was a unacceptable behavior and damaging on many, many levels, right? So we want to take a look at what did people do and help them to get that internal focus kind of awareness of what did I do, what was driving that for me, what were my beliefs and attitudes, and what was the impact of my behavior on the people that, in theory, I love, right? But a program has to do more than that. The program has to be able to help people pursue a secure attachment. And in the research, they call this earned attachment. Somebody has an insecure attachment in their early years, but through doing a lot of introspective work and setting up their lives to be around people with secure attachments and recognizing their own cues and paying attention to their own physiology, people can acquire a secure attachment in adulthood. And they do that by a few things that we can do in our classes. Along with what I've already mentioned, we need to be working on that restricted emotional expression, which is really a classic insecure attached symptom, right? People aren't safe to be vulnerable. They aren't safe to be seen. And emotional expression is a vulnerability. And so people are very protective of that. People are also very, deprecating of themselves, or overinflating their personality to where they are the most amazing thing since sliced bread. And so this overinflated or underinflated of personality of perception is really an indicator of insecure attachment. And lately I've been paying attention to the work of Howard Steele from New University, who's talking about reflective functioning. And this idea has really captured me, that there's evidence of secure attachment by the way people understand other people's behavior, thoughts, and feelings. Right? And so, for example, if you have been treated cruelly as a kid, if you experience physical abuse by, an older sibling or a step parent, right? If you have reflective functioning, you would be able to kind of answer the question of why do you think that person treated you the way that they did? And you would be able to get into some details about, how that person had own challenges in their life and own experiences of being weak and inferior and trying to make something of themselves. You would have an understanding of the challenges and the life influences that impacted this person's design to be abusive or cruel to you. But if you have low reflective functioning, you would just go, I have no idea why he did it. He was just a mean jerk, right? Or you have to ask him. He would be able to tell you why he did it. You would have a really narrow understanding of what was the story, beyond just the abuse, the cruelty, the events that you experienced. The more we can understand the story, the more we have this reflective functioning. Well, let me think about that, right? Then the more we can move towards a secure attachment. And side note, what Howard Steele says is that people with high reflective functioning stand the best chances of raising securely attached kids. People with low reflective functioning or lower reflective functioning, it is unlikely that they're going to be able to raise securely attached kids. And if you follow the attachment model, what you recognize very quickly is that if we're going to really take a dent out of domestic violence and reduce the number of people who are using cruelty in families, we have to get better at parenting our kids in the first 2 years. Bruce Perry says in the first year of life, if you have a good, solid, nurturing upbringing during that time, it buffers so many damaging things that might occur after the first year. But if you have a damaged first year where that neglect is present and your basic needs are not being met, you can have a really solid life, after that first year, and it's still not going to turn out well. That first year of development of connection and relationship really sets the tone for many of the things that are following throughout our life. And I would argue that includes domestic violence. And so we want to use the idea of attachment in our classroom, not only looking at gender-based violence and accountability and beliefs and attitudes, but also we have to look at what happened to you. Right? What are the things that damage your attachment, and how do we as a program help you as a participant to move towards a secure attachment during the time that we have to work together? There is so much to this to this job of facilitating battering intervention. It's so much more than just having a curriculum and a group room. We have to be understanding the multiple facets that can impact domestic violence and affect the intervention, because that's what we're after. The better we become at intervening, the safer families are, thanks to the work that we're able to do. So pay attention to attachment. Pay attention to how many people in your room do you think really have a secure attachment, because there's not very many. Secure attachment is an amazing buffering effect, and it starts early. Hey, happy July, you guys. And I will look forward to seeing you again in August. If you like the videos, feel free to subscribe or like or share, whatever. But join our community as we're just pursuing an understanding of how to help people who use cruelty to stop. Best to you all.